report a shot fired at officer trying to stop the vehicle. We have one officer shot.
We got shots fired. Sounded like an automatic firearm.
Copy, code red, shots fired.
We have an active shooter. We have an active shooter inside the fairground.
Now it's Shots Fired with your host, TJ Kirgin, Dinah Death Milberg, and the lovely Crystal Powers.
And we're back with another fun-filled episode of Shots Fired, featuring myself, TJ Kirgin, a.k.a. Sig Glockenkolt, your local warlord in St. Louis, and
I am Alex Dinah Death Milberg, assistant to the regional warlord.
Assistant to the regional warlord. Are you a warlord in your own right? Are you a warlord in your suburb? Are you a suburban warlord? You know what I mean by that? Are you the guy who, or the woman, that your neighbors say, if the poop hits the fan, I'm coming to your house?
I appreciate and hate those people at the same time.
Yeah, because I'm shooting you if you come to my house.
You're not getting any of my stuff.
No.
Buy your own guns and ammo. Stuff's expensive, man. I'm not sharing this.
Yeah, it's almost like during the pandemic, you know, the memes about, you know, why gun owners weren't freaking out and buying so much toilet paper because we could just take it if we need it.
Yeah.
Anyway. Welcome to a show that's all about shots fired. This show originally started years ago as a podcast, and we would Monday morning quarterback, well, in this case, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon quarterback shootings of noteworthiness or merit. We don't typically go over the North County, South County shootings or the Chicago shootings because they're not of merit, but we haven't had many shootings during the Trump era, so we actually changed the show. We talk more about self-defense and home defense and self-protection and mindset and training and everything guns, collecting guns, shooting guns, sport, hunting, whatever. But we have a shooting this week.
Yeah.
Amazingly, one day after the president announces all kinds of new gun control.
It's almost like was there a mess up and you guys were actually supposed to have it a day earlier?
You know, I said that. I was like, oh, somebody screwed up.
Yeah.
You know, the active shooter in the subway of New York was a day late.
Yeah, either that or like because he used 33 round mags, are they going to use this as, oh, we went after ghost guns, now we're going after extendos.
Yeah, well, so was that gun that he used? So this guy... Yeah. So if you've been sleeping under a rock, or if you're like me and you just hate the news because they lie so much,
you have to start like stepping away from it.
Yeah, you know, my wife made me watch the weather the other night. It was the night before last, and I was like, she goes, "I know you hate the news." We turned on and I had to suffer through sports, and I was like, "Oh my God, we still have a baseball team!" And
oh yeah,
and then we get to the weather, and then after the weather, they talk about some stupid local news, air quotes. And I was like, bye, liars. And I turned off the TV because I don't watch it. I really don't care. I get my news from social media and traditionally from trusted sources in social media that relay credible news because the real media doesn't get it to us. And the social media does everything they can to stifle it. You know, the real news.
The good ones, you know, when you found the good ones, when they have to have 4 or 5 backup pages because they keep getting shut down.
Yeah, like that's... Like Firearms Chronicles, or even our company, TacticalSht.T, TacticalSht*T. We run that company. It's here in St. Louis. It's a nationwide brand with over 2 million fans, followers, and customers. We've got a website at shop.TacticalSht.com, or you can visit our St. Louis store at Cave Springs and 70 in St. Charles County, the Holy Land out that way.
It is.
Yeah, we love it. So anyway, there's a shooting, and it's the day after 364 pages of gun control signed into rule, right? It isn't a law. It's a rule.
Yeah.
That was signed by the Attorney General, I think.
I believe so.
And it's a DOJ rule. So they changed the way they interpret the law.
Yeah.
And how that affects you and your future prison sentence.
Oh, so true.
So they have a shooting, and it's an active shooter. It's a mass shooter. He was not caught right away. Allegedly he was wearing a gas mask.
Yeah.
Set off a couple smoke grenades on a subway while it was moving.
Which they say actually saved lives because nobody could see, but neither could the shooter.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't even aiming. He was just shooting from the hip, I heard.
Yeah. And the most amazing part.
Which isn't too hard to hit people shooting from the hip if you're in a subway car. I mean, you're literally in a giant tube.
Yeah.
You know, point, shoot.
Some interesting key facts here. 33 rounds were fired. He made it through one extended magazine and then reloaded, made it 3 rounds into the other, had a malfunction. 29 hits out of 33 shots.
Yeah.
So for blind firing, not bad, except it was all...
You're in a subway car, Alex.
I know. It's a good hit factor.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, for a USPSA score, that would be pretty good. Time plus accuracy equals hit factor.
But amazingly enough, this has got to be a first. Not a single person killed.
Yeah.
29 victims, all with wounds to lower extremities, knees, legs, stuff like that, but everybody's alive.
Yeah. Well, you know what they say about the 9 milli?
What's that?
That it's, you know, like I actually debated this with a Green Beret a couple months ago at a shoot house.
Yeah.
Because I said, you know, I use a 9 mil sub gun for my home protection. That's kind of my go-to because I don't want to, you know, use a high-powered rifle in my house.
Yeah.
Kill my neighbors and whatnot. But the Green Beret said, well, with a pistol, you know, caliber, you're just wounding someone to death. Because it really is not an effective stopping tool. You wound them to death. And I never forgot that. I still use a 9mm in my house as my main go-to. You know, something goes on in the house, I'm going to use that. But, you know, if something a little bit more is going on, I'll probably upgrade to the 300 blackout suppressed.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah. With the supersonic rounds, though. So they still hear that crack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right before they go lights out.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, he doesn't kill anybody.
No, not a single one.
29 rounds on target using a 33 round stendo, which you can get at the gun show or at Tactical SH.T in St. Charles, St. Peter's.
Except ours work, unlike this dude's.
Yeah. Well, I'm really surprised. So the question is, so he was using a Glock?
Yes.
Was it a Glock 19, 17, you know?
I've not been able to find out any specifics on which Glock model it was. Originally, I was hearing it was a 380.
Really? Well, that would explain why nobody died then.
Yeah, but now all the reports are saying 9 mil.
By the way, if you carry a 380 to protect yourself, just stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. When I was a police officer, I worked 2 separate shootings where the victim did not know he was shot with a 380.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can shoot a 380, you can shoot a 9. It's not like there's a huge jump in recoil between one and the other.
Right.
In some cases, 380 is usually in a smaller platform gun anyways. I felt like the 380s I shot have had more recoil than most of the 9s I've shot.
Yeah, and if you're a female and you don't like the recoil snap of the 9mm, try shooting a Smith & Wesson EZ 9mm. Yeah. They make a 380, but don't buy that. Get the 9mm. It's got much less recoil, easy to manipulate slide for a woman's delicate femininity. Is that a way to say it? Thank you.
Well said.
Thank you. So anyway, this guy has a Glock 19, and here's the crazy thing. Here's the crazy thing that blew all the conspiracy theorist guys' minds.
Yep.
It had serial numbers on it. Just like almost every other gun used in crime in the United States.
And legally purchased.
It was legally purchased in New York. How do you do that?
No, he got it in a different state because that Glock, I believe, is not legal. As is, strangely enough, the article even stated the magazines he used wasn't legal.
Well, right.
Almost like criminals don't obey laws.
Extended magazines are not legal in New York.
No.
Nor is the gun.
Nope.
And yet it was still there.
Yeah, amazing.
That is crazy. It's just like that LA shooting last week that we talked about.
Yep.
You know, the guns are illegal in Los Angeles County. It's
weird.
It's amazing that this still happens.
I can't understand it. It doesn't make any sense at all.
So one day after the president targets ghost guns.
Yep.
And says they are the scourge of America. They are feeding the violence. Polymer 80 is the devil. And those Poly 80 Glocks are showing up all over the country in crime scenes. Although if you ask cops, they're not.
Yeah.
I'm sure they are to a point, you know. I mean, Poly 80 is really easy to make. Anyway,
it is.
We're going to talk about the 364 pages of rule, but we still got to finish talking about this shooting because there was a ton of media about it really quick, right? Everybody, it was a front page of every newspaper and blog and Fox and CNN and MSNBC. And now, it seems like the media is kind of toning it down a bit, about the shooting because they caught the shooter. And he wasn't the color they wanted him to be.
No, and this just shocked me. I'm trying to get more info about it as we're talking. WSJ.com.
Yeah, Wall Street Journal.
Oh,
I mean, you know what? We're going to a local break really quick.
Yeah, this is what we're holding
so
off
just
for.
hold that, and we're still with the other guys in St. Louis. So hey, we're back for that local break too. What did you just find on the Wall Street Journal in regards to the shooting in the subway?
Yeah, I mean, Wall Street Journal is not exactly a conservative one. Wall Street Journal themselves. I couldn't believe I just saw this. Where is it here? No surprise, crime has made a comeback in regards to New York City.
Right.
The problem isn't guns, which New York strictly regulates. The problem is the lack of political will to keep criminals and the homeless mentally ill off the streets. I can't believe I'm agreeing with Wall Street Journal, but that was actually well stated.
Yeah,
the problem isn't the guns.
It's common sense. I mean, which you don't have a lot of in America these days. But so the shooter, James, I guess is his name.
Yes.
A older black man. 65-year-old black
65-year-old.
Was arrested. And then they checked his social media.
Yeah.
His social media is full of old posts ranting
and videos
about killing Whitey and starting a race war.
He apparently had a YouTube channel where most of his hate speech was at, where he would go on rant after rant about whites, Hispanics, even other African Americans, going after the ones who Kenji Brown, the female who was just nominated as Supreme Court Justice, he apparently, his recent tirade was going off on her because she's married to a white man and she's a race traitor, et cetera, et cetera. Quotes like, I can't wait to see bodies dropping before my own eyes.
Here's the one I like. Oh, black Jesus, please kill all the whiteys.
Yeah. I mean,
Frank James.
Kind of cut and dry there.
He posted a photograph of the Dallas BLM shooter who sniper killed 5 police officers.
That's right. I forgot about that.
And posted a prayer asking for all whites to die. One of his videos is titled, "We Once Were Kings." So what's shocking here is that I got in trouble on Instagram last night.
Yes, as did I.
And I got in trouble because somebody posted a meme with a bunch of bugs crawling from one place to another. And I commented, "Kill it with fire." And I used a little fire emoji. That's a joke. Yeah. But evidently I can't say the word kill in relation to bugs on Instagram without my account risking being taken down. This is like the second or third time. Evidently, I like to use the word kill my comments. And I've gotten to the point where I just won't even comment on social media because I get in trouble every time I say anything. It's always hate speech. It's always, it's always something prohibited.
Pro-violence, encouraging violence.
Yep, I got in trouble on Instagram day before yesterday because when we started, we sell 80% lowers. What the media is calling ghost guns at TacticalSht.T. So if you want to build your own rifle, AR-15, you have the right to do so. It's not illegal even after this 364-page ruling. You can come to TacticalSht.T. You can get an 80% lower. Yep. Go buy a jig, get yourself a drill press, make yourself a gun. So I posted, because, tongue in cheek, that we were selling an F-15, 80% F-15 with free Sidewinder missiles.
Yeah.
And it was $100 million was the price. And that post was taken down and I received a strike for selling prohibited goods on Instagram. Evidently you can't sell strike fighters.
What kind of fun can you have these days? I mean,
if you're ridiculous. A black man saying kill Whitey, they leave your post.
I got dinged and a post removed because I posted a picture of the Taliban with M4s, and the caption was, "Here we go again. The president who gave military grade weapons to our enemy is telling me I can't have my AR-15s and ghost guns again. Nothing, no call for violence.
That's not even political.
Nothing. No, it's a factual statement. He did.
Yeah.
And even the hashtags used weren't that bad. And yet I got removed for harassment and encouraging violence.
Well, at TacticalSht.T, we've lost our YouTube channel with hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Was it about a year ago? I think we lost it, maybe a year and a half, right before the election.
Yeah.
They were silencing conservatives. Our YouTube channel went away. We've lost our Instagram account with 364,000 fans.
Oh, like 20 times.
Yeah, this is the last time, though, that we're not getting it back. So, we are censored ridiculously because of our political beliefs, the fact they consider us dissidents.
Yeah.
But yet someone who is radically on the other side
for years, not occasionally, but
post
years.
Absolute racist, terrorist comments about murdering people because of the color of their skin. And the posts don't get pulled down. This is why Elon Musk needs to buy Twitter, and then he needs to buy Google, and then he needs to buy Facebook. And he offered $41 billion for Twitter this week, and so that's going to be really interesting. We're going to have to go to break, and after that, we'll come back and we'll talk about the ghost gun rule and how it affects you. We'll be right back. All right, and we're back again talking about the ghost gun rule, and it is 364 pages. You know, they've been working on this for over a year. We knew it was coming. Yeah,
they gave, because they had the and they did address the comments. The ATF left it open for comments.
Yeah, it had 290,000 comments.
I'm honestly really disappointed in that number.
Yeah.
With how many gun owners there are, I was hoping for at least 1 million.
But out of all the gun owners, you have all the FUDs out there, and I guarantee they're listening right now. And you want to know if you're a FUD. You are a FUD if you have ever said, and that's a takeoff of the Elmer FUD, right? Yes. Elmer FUD is a gun-toting cartoon, right? If you've ever said, I love the Second Amendment, but.
Yeah. Just right there. You're a FUD.
Yeah. I love the Second Amendment, but if you say that, you should haze yourself.
Yeah, there is no but.
There's no but. Suppressors, machine guns, bump stocks, ghost guns, whatever you want to call it, it should all be legal and available to order on Amazon.
Yeah.
But instead, by putting that but in there and saying, oh, it's only ghost guns, I'm not ever going to make my own AR-15. It's only a bump stock. Who needs one of those anyway? They're dumb.
They don't even work.
That's what happens. So you have 270,000 gun owners that actually don't use the word but.
Yeah.
Right. The rest of them, which is tens of millions, just don't care.
Yeah.
Enough.
No, it's exactly what it is. It doesn't affect me. But I have my guns, whatever.
But yet it does.
Yep.
So, you know how they sneak things into bills, the omnibus bill?
They would never do that.
Well, they do the same thing with gun laws. 364 pages reinterpreting the rules as to what is a firearm.
Yeah.
Just like they reinterpreted the rule several years ago as to what is a machine gun.
Yep.
And made bump stocks a piece of plastic that does not do anything to make the gun go off. They made that a machine gun. And by the definition changed to machine gun, they now made my blue jeans a machine gun. And my khaki shorts are now a machine gun because I can bump fire a gun without a bump stock using my belt loop.
Dear God, has anybody checked on Jerry Mitchell lately?
He's okay.
Okay.
I talked to him the other day.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
So we allow them to make these arbitrary rule changes. Only 270,000 of us make comments, and those comments were received. And you could tell by reading this 364 pages that some of those comments were heard.
Yeah, I mean, they did address them. I'll give them that. They actually did read through them. I always just assumed that was just to make you feel good, but they never remotely even bother looking at that. But I mean, they did. They just don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I made a comment on the short-barreled rifle rule, which the arm brace rule, which is the next one that they're going to hit us with sometime late summer.
Yeah, August, I'm hearing.
I had made a comment about that because if you decide that these arm braced pistols, because of certain criteria, suddenly become short-barreled rifles, if someone lives in certain states like Illinois, they cannot keep that gun.
No.
You cannot own a short-barreled rifle in the state of Illinois.
No. I mean, it's very like, you almost have to have a lawyer sit down with it and translate it for you, because it's like a point system. And
yeah, well, okay, so we'll talk about that in a minute. We'll come back to the arm brace thing, because that's not the news today. The news today is Firearms Receivers.
Yeah.
And so, interestingly enough, this seems to target very, very directly Poly 80.
Yeah. I mean, Biden, during the press release, when he did the video, literally held up a buy, build, shoot kit from Poly 80.
Right. And Poly 80, a manufacturer of firearms, they have an SOT7 and they actually manufacture guns. That's something they started doing a few years ago. They've been selling this polymer 80, that you can actually turn into a Glock lower receiver in about 15 minutes with a simple tool like a Dremel.
Yeah.
And you don't need any real skill. You don't need any real technological advancements. And they had a determination letter from the ATF stating that that is not a gun. But then they pushed it like so many gun companies do, right?
Which I love. They should.
They should. But they pushed it. And, and I don't know. I don't know if I agree with you on that. I think we should always push the limits. But in this case, by pushing, they hurt the whole. If they would have just left it alone and sold 80s, they would have been fine. But what they decided to do was sell what they called and advertised buy, build, shoot kits.
Yeah. It
was a box with an 80% Poly 80 in it and a jig and the drill bits. Okay, which I always thought was suspect. When we started selling 80% lowers in 2013, we intentionally didn't sell drill bits.
Yeah.
Because we're not selling you the whole kit. You cannot make the gun without going and getting some other stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Because we didn't want, we're common sense.
Yeah.
Right? It's what does the ATF call that? Intent?
Yeah.
Constructional intent. Constructive intent. Right.
That's it.
You have the ability to do it, so you're guilty. But anyway, they started selling this box with a slide and a lower and a barrel.
And we're not talking like a strip, like sights are on it, ready to go.
Yeah. So a slide with sights, a barrel, a trigger group, which is another one. If you put a trigger in an AR lower, you've just manufactured a rifle, essentially. So they put the trigger in it, and literally you have everything in the box to build the gun.
Yeah.
15 minutes later, you're shooting up a subway station. And so they got raided by the ATF last year. And now that was ridiculous because there was no law or rule against buy, build, shoot kits.
No.
Yet the ATF raided them anyway and seized them all. And then proceeded with this whole thing. So that is kind of the moment in time that this became a political issue.
Yeah.
And I do think it is a political, I think Biden's trying to use it as a major victory, and really it's not.
No, I mean, it's not going to accomplish or stop any crime whatsoever.
Yeah.
The criminals who were going to do an 80%, if that is even a thing, are going to go back to just stealing idiots' guns who leave stickers on their car that say Glock, Remington, this car is protected by
Smith & Wesson.
Yeah.
Make my day.
Yeah, NRA stickers, AR-15.
If you've got those things on your truck, take them off.
Please do.
Take them off now.
Please do. Put them on your liberal neighbor's car so his stuff gets broken into.
So Poly 80 seems to be the target. We have read the entire 364 pages. Well, I haven't. I made my employees do it.
We had people do that.
I walked into the shop at Tactical SH.T in St. Peter's and I said, "Who's reading this right now?" And, our entire FFL department printed the whole thing, read it, interpreted it. That's all we could do. We're not lawyers.
No.
And then, we wrote a blog. You can actually read the article at TacticalSht.Official.com. Scroll down. That's our blog. Our store is at shop.TacticalSht.com. But the blog, if you just go to TacticalSht.com, scroll down, you'll see it. It's the 7 key takeaways from the 600 or 364 pages. And to summarize those 7 key takeaways. And I want to thank David Harder in our FFL department for actually reading all 364 pages.
It's like 11:45 at night, and I get a text, my brain hurts, but it's finished.
Yeah, it's very well written. He's a very eloquent guy, and he's funny. The article's called Ain't Afraid of No Ghosts. Yeah. And so the first one, TikTok, but not the twerking kind. And so the number one, what he's talking about there is TikTok. How much time do you have before buy, build, shoot kits, or before 80% lower receivers are considered firearms?
90 days.
No, it's 120, and it's 100. It's 120 from the moment it is published. The final rule is published in the Federal Register, which as of yesterday had not happened yet.
No, so you still got time.
So we're at 120 plus days to still purchase 80% lowers, poly 80s.
So right now that gives us till what, August? Roughly?
Yeah. Now, we did. It does not look, and this, I'm not a lawyer. Don't take this as legal advice. It does not look like the 80% metal AR-15 lower is going to be part of this.
No, there was some confusion about that at first, but no, I believe you're correct.
Because it's not readily convertible to a firearm. You have to get a drill with a 3-point axis.
Yeah.
You have to have a jig. You have to have knowledge and ability to mill, even though it is simple. Right. I mean, I've seen some guys pretty butcher the daylights out of them and they still work.
Yeah.
But it can't be done. It probably takes hours.
Yeah, it is not a
work.
fast, quick thing.
Yeah.
Even with a solid CNC machine, you're still talking a decent amount of time.
Yeah. So
drill press, hours.
A lot of people are freaking out and buying 80s because I don't think they omitted it on purpose. I think that they just kind of are idiots and they haven't taken into consideration what they're doing. So
most likely,
so anyway, we're still selling them. We've got them at Tactical SH.T in St. Peter's. We've got Anderson in the raw 80% firearms, 80% lower receivers for AR-15s. And we've also got brace built, which is high quality.
Yes.
And those are anodized. So they're already black. So you don't have to paint them.
Yep.
We do not sell jigs though. We used to, and then we got away from that because we saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
But we still have plenty of those in stock if you want to stop by. We really would like to meet you. If you are listening to this radio show on a regular basis, every Saturday on whatever one of the umpteen stations in Missouri that we're on, all the way down to Rolla, we'd like you to stop by and we will give you a special discount. 5 to 10% off anything in the store, depending on what it is. All you got to do is mention the show Shots Fired.
Yep.
Go in, tell Ben, Red, White, and Ben looks like a crazy leprechaun. Tell him that you heard this, heard about the store on Shots Fired, and you'll get 5% off ammo, 10% off tactical gear, and various other things. Right now, we're even running a special on 9mm ammo, made in America, 9% off 9mm.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since we saw discounts on ammunition.
Period.
Yeah. With that being said, let's get back to the 7 takeaways. So this does some major things to firearms moving forward. The AR-15 lower will still be considered the firearm.
Yes.
Right, the lower receiver. But all new firearms, as they get approved through the ATF, it will be the upper receiver. And there is some question as to what this is going to do to the Sig Sauer P320.
Yeah.
Because it has a upper receiver and a lower receiver, and neither one of them are a gun. The gun is actually the trigger group that goes in the middle.
Yeah. It's and it kind of, I feel bad for SIG because they were so inventive with that platform. And it was brilliant because, well, do I get a full size? Do I get a compact? Do I get a subcompact? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can literally have it all. It's like a reversible belt. Yeah, I mean, you can configure these. You can have one built out for a race gun for competition, one for home defense, one for just the range, and you're technically only have one firearm. And it sucks for them because they really were the only ones to do that. And now moving forward, it looks like they're defeating the purpose. It's now going to have to all the parts for it are going to have to be a firearm.
Well, hopefully that's not the case. I would imagine SIG's lawyers are getting involved right about now trying to figure that out because they've got 120 days to do so.
And
right?
I'm hearing it's new firearms that are going to be introduced in the future.
Right.
That's my understanding.
Because here's the thing. You still, even after this rule, have the constitutional right to build your own firearm. That doesn't change. You can still manufacture your own firearm.
Yeah.
What they're saying is that if a company sells you a kit and that kit is a, buy, build, shoot kit that makes it easy to manufacture yourself, then the kit itself is going to be considered a firearm, must have a serial number on it from the manufacturer, and you will be forced to fill out a 4473 and get a background check in the NICS system when you buy the kit.
Yeah.
All right. However, if you have, and let's talk about the 80% lowers for the ARs.
Yeah.
Right? We don't think those are kits. We don't think they're going to fall under the rule. That might change in 120 days when they realize what they haven't done or whatever. But if the rule, one of these 364 pages is if you take that 80% gun you built into a 100% gun, let's call it a ghost gun because it's just catchy and easy. So you've built your ghost gun, you then take it to an FFL or a gunsmith.
Yeah.
And you want to get sights put on it, or you want to get a new buffer system put in or something, a new trigger installed, a muzzle device put on. By law, that FFL is now going to be forced to serialize your gun.
Yeah, which that's a whole other list of questions on its own, how that's going to work.
Right. Well, typically, in order to put a serial number on a gun, you have to be a manufacturer, an SOT07.
Yeah.
Okay. But they've eliminated that rule. And so now any gunsmith or FFL, upon inventorying a gun, meaning keeping it overnight, they are going to have to engrave it with a number. How they're going to come up with that number so it doesn't conflict with other numbers out there,
yeah.
I'm sure they'll build some sort of system. But so that is an interesting thing. A lot of gun dealers don't even mess with homemade guns. Like Ultimate Defense in St. Peter's, it says right on their thing, we buy guns, but not 80% lower built guns.
Yeah, which is understandable.
They just don't even mess with them. But typically you have the right to build a gun. I would never sell it anyway, because, you're getting into some dangerous area there, because if you sell more than one of them, or you could get tripped up in a manufacturing conviction.
If it's 6 or more in a year, then
if you build 6 or more.
No, if you sell.
Yeah. But what if you build 3 and sell them? You've now built and sold guns, and you've now failed to pay excise tax.
It's a gray area, because that's what it states is you can't build with the intent on selling. Now, if you build one and a year later, you're like, you know what? I don't really like this thing. And you've got a cousin who wants to buy it for $500. That is legal.
Right.
But if you are buying them, hey, I'm going to buy a whole bunch of these up, build some super cheap ARs for $400, turn around and flip them for $800. That is where you're going to get in trouble. And again, it's like with everything with the ATF, it's all about constructive intent, which that is such a vague. How are you going to dictate intent? I mean, that's such an open-ended thing. Just like with SBRs, you can have all the parts to manufacture an SBR.
Short-barreled rifle.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
Before you get your tax stamp saying you're allowed to have that. And it's kind of a gray area of constructive intent. Like, I had the parts while I was waiting for my stamp, but just because that had me so paranoid, I would actually keep the buffer system and the stock in my car, and then the upper and of my upstairs, and then everything else in the basement.
Right.
Just because it's how are you supposed to argue intent?
Yeah. No, they have to argue it. You have to defend it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Well, they mentioned suppressors quite a bit in this document, because they're also talking about kits to build suppressors. It has been very popular for the last couple of years, and again, it was abused by manufacturers, and I have a problem with this.
They were doing like 99%.
Yeah, they're basically making a suppressor, calling it an oiled solvent trap,
and then you drill out the end,
and all you have to do is drill a hole in it.
Yeah,
that's it, one hole, and you have a suppressor. And so what guys were doing legally is that they were filling out Form 1s to apply to manufacture a suppressor, buying one of these cheap solvent traps from one of these companies that were selling them to anybody with no background check, because they didn't have a hole drilled in them. And the guys would do the Form 1 legally, pay their $200.
Yep.
Was it 200?
Yeah.
Yeah. So $200. And then in like 30 or 60 days, they'd get their Form 1 approved, and then they'd be able to drill the hole.
I did one myself.
But then the ATF put a big kaboosh on that. It's over. You know, those guys cannot sell those parts anymore, even with the end cap not drilled out, even not together. You can't sell baffles. You can't sell rings. You can't, they are considered a suppressor in any configuration if they can be configured to become one.
Yeah.
And so that basically put all of those companies that were doing that, come on, shady crap, out of business. And some of them are still in jail because they got caught doing other shady things.
Yeah.
But what it's done now is it's eliminated Form 1s don't get approved. And now you pretty much have to just buy a suppressor.
I was on, when it first happened, I was on some NFA pages, and just all of a sudden it's like every post popping up on my newsfeed was, hey, what's going on? I've never been disapproved, but my Form 1 just got disapproved. And it's like mass disapprovals on Form 1 suppressors out of nowhere. And that's how I actually first became aware out of it.
Yeah, it kind of sent a shockwave through the industry. And like I said, though, with this rule, essentially all those companies can still operate.
Yeah.
They just now have to get FFL, SOT-07, manufacturing, and they need to start paying taxes.
Yeah.
Which none of them will probably do.
Because let's face it, the government doesn't care about people's safety or security.
They just want the taxes.
They want the tax money. Yeah. They're missing out on tax revenue.
Shooting is becoming a rich man's sport.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to make it even more of a rich man's sport all the time.
That's why the Hearing Protection Act will never pass. Government is not going to get rid of however many millions of dollars a year they get from tax stamps.
No. That's why I think machine guns are a safe investment.
Absolutely.
Because the only way my machine gun value is going to go down is if the NFA is repealed.
Yeah.
I would love to see that happen, and I will fight for it. But at the same time, it's not going to happen, which is why my MP5 and my FN, what is it, FNFNS?
FNAR.
Yeah, they're not going to go down. I'm going to buy an Uzi next.
Nice.
Yeah, because I believe in investing in things that appreciate, value appreciate that you can enjoy.
Yeah.
I've had $30,000 in some sort of IRA that my dad set up for me when I first went to work for his company. And I quit contributing to it after a few years. And it just irks me to death that every day I look at that and think that could be another machine gun.
Well,
but instead, I have loaned that money to old rich white men, and I can't touch it without huge tax penalties until I'm 65. That's stupid.
Now, here's an interesting comparison. The interest maturity on your IRA versus the maturity on the value of your machine gun.
If I would have bought an MP5 or a HK trigger pack, back then would have been probably about 1997. Probably would have been about maybe $10,000 back then?
Yeah.
5 or 6.
Yeah.
And now it's worth $47,000.
That's pretty good return.
Yeah. But you know what? I put $28,000 in this IRA, and that was in about same time, 1997.
Yeah.
And now it's worth 32.
That's depressing.
Yeah. Yeah. I've made.
So there you have it, guys. You're looking for investment tips.
They've had my 28 grand for, like 20 years, and I've made $4 grand. Thank you. Yeah. That's why I don't invest in the market.
Follow us for more investing advice.
However, if you are into investing, look into POW, P-O-W-W. That's publicly traded Ammo Inc. I was reading in Fortune magazine or Forbes or something the other day that stock is poised to do well, and they seem to be making the right PR moves. And it is the only other publicly traded gun ammo stock in America other than Vista. Vista Outdoors owns everything else, so they are prime for acquisition. Vista will probably suck them up at some point. I think it's like a $5 stock. So anyway, Vista's another good one. If you can't buy ammo to go hunting, take that money and put it in Vista Outdoor.
Yeah.
Because nobody else can find ammo, and that means Vista's making all the money and not making enough product.
Not even including the military and DoD contracts they have.
Right. You know what? We've only got a few minutes left in our local show. We're on 5 stations just in St. Louis. And I saw that BLM questions about taxes are triggering. Huh. We're just watching Fox News.
You use the contributions for BLM to buy a $30 million mansion in California.
Yeah, I would have bought $30 million worth of machine guns. But anyway, back on target. We almost squirreled there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did squirrel. We BLM squirreled. We need to talk about our sponsor.
Yes.
Who actually, this is a show about guns.
Yeah.
And every day is a gun show at Precision Fitness.
See what you did there.
You like that?
That was good.
Yeah,
that was good.
Because Jamie more than anything is all about guns.
Yeah.
Not only does he like his firearms, and he's a collector himself, but he is, by the way, totally like-minded individual. I mean, he sponsors the show.
Yeah.
Come on. But Jamie, if you want your guns to be bigger, I'm not talking about your rifles. If you want your guns to be bigger for the ladies, for yourself in the mirror, if you want to get your tries bigger for the guys, then you go in and you train with Jamie or Jake or any one of the guys over at Precision Fitness.
They almost killed me Tuesday.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Did shoulder day, and it was like I was Marine Corps, so I'm used to pushing myself mentally and physically harder than what I think I can do. But I gotta say, that was probably one of the most brutal workouts I've ever had in my life. I have never had to stop in the parking lot because I thought I was going to throw up
from shoulder day.
Yeah. That's what type of quality of motivation and training you get at Precision.
Yeah, they push you way harder than you push yourself.
Yeah.
That's why I go there. I don't pay to train on a regular basis. My wife does every day. Every day she drives from Lake St. Louis all the way to Creve Coeur because that's how good they are.
Yeah.
All right. Me, I'll go in there once in a while to get myself out of my own head. I think I'm pushing myself. And then I go in there and I get reminded really quick. Nope, you're not. And I also love what else they do for me in the fact that I basically get an executive physical every 60 days. They check my blood. They check my PSA levels for my prostate. They check my testosterone levels. They check my sugar levels. My, what do you call that? What's the diabetes number?
I'm going blank.
I don't know, but they check all that stuff. And then they dial in, they tell me what I'm supposed to eat, when I'm supposed to eat it, more carbs, less carbs, more protein, less protein, no carbs at this time of the day, tons of carbs at this time of the day, whatever. And then they also provide me supplements, everything from vitamin D to B12 and whatnot to just feel better, feel great. And then they give me the magic stuff, like the CJC and ipamorelin, which actually tells my hypothalamus gland to produce human growth hormone like I'm 18 again.
Yep.
Yeah. And then, of course, testosterone supplement therapy, blah, 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 blah. They do it all. And they do incredible work on women. And
my wife's there almost monthly at this point.
And what I mean by that is it's also a medical spa. So if you're looking to have the best nurse practitioner in St. Louis, period, when it comes to lips,
probably the whole
face, cheek, getting rid of your 11s, Botox and filler and all that stuff. It's Jen Spicer all day long. Check them out. PrecisionMedicalAndFitness.com.
Yep.
Yeah. Precision Medical is it? I totally
PrecisionMedicalFitnessSpa.com.
Yeah. It's in Creve Coeur. Just Google Precision Fitness and you'll find it. Anyway, we are coming up on the end of our first local show. And then we've got our 4-minute after party. You know what we didn't even do today?
What's that?
We didn't even explain why our beautiful co-host is not here.
That's right. We didn't even notice her missing.
We didn't. You know what? We're going to talk about.
We don't need her.
We're going to talk about her in the after show.
Yeah.
But you guys that are on the local show listening right now, if you want to hear the after show, or the whole show in its entirety, you can podcast it anywhere on all podcasting devices, on your iPhone, on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, you name it. Just search Shots Fired, look for the Gun Spartan wearing the headset, and podcast us every week. This show is on the air. And we'll see you later. All right, this begins the after party. So Crystal was not with us today. I don't know if you guys noticed that. It was basically it was not an episode of That's What She Said. There was no That's What She Said today.
None at all.
We didn't even talk about seed oils.
Well, I mean, now we did.
Yeah, well, we have to. Because you cannot go a show without talking about seed oil. I would be remiss.
Yeah.
And so Crystal is our resident fitness and fitness, health, and self-defense expert.
Yes.
But she's all about nutritional health in today's world and how modern, what we think is nutrition, the stupid bread, cheese, triangle thing you got taught in kindergarten.
It's so outdated.
The whole thing. She's basically an advocate against a lot of what we hold as truths in food.
Yeah.
We talk about self-defense and self-protection, and that starts with good health, right? Your gun is going to protect you from the bad guy if you know how to use it and if you train, but the way you eat and the way you work out and what you eat, that's going to protect you from diabetes.
I mean,
because your AR-15 won't.
No, you could have the greatest gear on the planet and the best training possible, but if you're 375 pounds and 5'8" and you almost die climbing up a set of stairs, probably not going to do okay in a gunfight or
and you know what? Sometimes it's not your fault that
it happens.
You're eating the foods that the world provides you. And so just to get on a soapbox here, in this bonus round.
Yeah.
The other day, I don't know, I was out here in Chesterfield or whatever, and I wanted to eat.
Yeah.
And I could not, for the life of me, find a restaurant that I could get a fairly quick meal that wasn't some sort of chain with processed food, with all kinds of ingredients that I can't pronounce.
The Lord's Chicken.
Huh?
Could have had the Lord's Chicken.
The Lord's Chicken? Yeah,
Chick-fil-A.
Okay, let's talk about that. Chick-fil-A. I guarantee, is it fried in seed oil? What kind of oil is Chick-fil-A? I tell you what, Crystal's got me freaked out, right? I'm not even eating my margarine anymore because margarine has canola oil in it. What she says is that seed oil, like canola oil, is the worst thing for you and is one of the things that's poisoning American society because it's literally in everything.
It is.
Especially everything fried. Is it in Chick-fil-A? Are you looking that up?
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
We've only got 58 seconds. No pressure. If you know what Chick-fil-A fries their chicken in, as far as the oil, put it in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube or if you're listening someplace where you can comment on it.
Peanut oil.
It's peanut oil. Okay. Well, that's actually healthier, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's one of the ones that's not as bad.
Yeah, it's not as bad. She said the best oil is what is that?
Avocado oil?
Avocado oil.
Yeah.
Second would be olive oil.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing about seed oil, canola oil, it does not process in the human body. The human body stores it. It will not pass it, and it will not process it.
I meant to
it
ask
stores
her,
in your brain and in your blood and in your fat. It does not pass through. And so that is what contributes to heart attacks, strokes, blah, 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 blah. Probably even causes COVID.
Cancers.
Yeah.
Certain cancers.
Yeah. Hey, that's the end of the show. We'll see you again next week.
Deuces.